Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Christina Zogby, and I'm a recruiter on the Corporate University Relations team at CVS Health. Today, we are going to look over some information regarding CVS Health as a company, meet some of our employees, and talk about potential opportunities as well. So with that being said, let's get started. So CVS Health, we are a healthcare innovation company with a simple and clear purpose, bringing our heart to every moment of your health. How do we do that? One way is through integrated value. We are creating unmatched products for today's healthcare consumers. Our integrated solutions are helping to lower costs and improve outcomes. We also use innovation. We have long been an industry leader with innovations that close gaps in care, drive greater adherence, and address unmet patient needs. Another way is through our digital services. Today's savvy healthcare consumers demand more flexibility in their interactions with providers. Virtual care can offer a convenient and lower cost alternative for them. CVS Health currently has over 300,000 colleagues who rally around bringing our heart to every moment of your health. We have nearly 10,000 retail locations. That means 70% of Americans live within a 5-mile radius of a CVS store. We're a Fortune 4 company. And that means we generate $80.4 billion in annual revenue and have a net income of $2.9 billion. So who are our customers? Well, Caremark and Aetna serve over 100 million members yearly, and nearly 5 million customers walk into our stores daily. In addition to that, we have a division for prescription benefit management, Medicare and Medicaid management, and our retail pharmacy fills over 1.5 billion prescriptions annually. Although you may know CVS Health as a retail pharmacy, we are much more than that. I want to go over a few of our divisions for you. We have CVS Caremark, which is our pharmacy benefit management organization. They're making sure you have access to affordable medication and convenient options for filling. That's our priority. This includes mail order pharmacy, specialty, or through our network of 68,000 pharmacies, both CVS and non-CVS. We have our Minute Clinic, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen in your local stores. Minute Clinic locations are staffed by practitioners who specialize in family health care. We're open every day, no appointment needed. We offer services for minor illnesses or injuries, screening and monitoring, skin conditions, travel health, vaccination and injections, wellness and physicals, and women's services, among others. OmniCare is a pharmacy services provider for long-term care and post-acute facilities, as well as assisted living or senior living communities. We have CVS Kidney Care. Using predictive advanced analytics, we provide early identification, healthcare professional outreach, and health and treatment education. This supports people with chronic kidney disease and those at high risk before they may require dialysis. Our health hubs, you may have seen popping up around your local stores in the past year or so. They offer expanded health services, including in-store and telehealth visits, pharmacy support, care for chronic conditions, as well as common illnesses, thousands of wellness products, wellness rooms in many locations, and they have physicians as well as nurse practitioners. We have Aetna, 39 million people rely on Aetna's health insurance plans to help them make decisions about their healthcare and their healthcare spending. Every day we work to make the system easier and more convenient for our customers. We have medical, pharmacy, and dental plans, Medicare plans, Medicaid services, behavioral health programs, and medical management. And those are a few of our divisions among CVS Health. Now I would like you to meet your panelists. If you could each please say your name, what school you are from, your position, how long you have been with the company, and your geographic work location. We will start with Simon and we can work our way down. So Simon, please go ahead.
Thank you, Christina. Good afternoon, guys. My name is Simon de Los Sansos, born and raised in New York City. I recently graduated from Baruch College with a degree in economics. I've been with CVS Health for about a month and a half now. Super excited, still learning, and I'm grateful for the opportunity. My team is specifically with Aetna Better Health, so I'm in the healthcare business in my first rotation with the FLDP. With that being said, I'll now pass it on to my fellow colleague, Simon.
Thank you, Simon. Hi, everyone. My name is Simon. I have been with CVS Health since I was a finance intern last summer. I worked in the pharmacy services segment as a client revenue and profit intern. I now work with Anthem FP&A, and I work from home. I'm based in Connecticut, and I went to the University of Connecticut. I'll pass it over to Lexi.
So my name is Lexi Johnson. I am from North Carolina. I graduated from Cornell University with a major in economics, and I've been with CVS for about 2.5 years now. And I work in the General Management Development Program in my second rotation, working as a network manager. And I'm currently located in Austin, Texas. So I'll now pass it over to Pema.
Hi, y'all. My name is Pema Bear. I am from Austin, Texas. And I went to American University in Washington, D.C. I just joined Aetna about a few months ago, and I'm in their Medicare Advantage space.
Yeah, and we'll close this out. So my name is Diabati. I go by she, her pronouns. I graduated from Cornell in 2020 with a bachelor's in biology and society and a minor in business. I have been with Aetna with CVS since 2019 as an intern in the general management program. So I feel a little old right now. And I am currently in my second rotation as a general management development as part of the general management development program in Medicare marketing. And I am currently located in Westchester, New York.
Thank you all for those introductions. I'd like to now jump into some questions. I'd like to start with Simon. What is the company and team culture like?
All right. Hi, everyone. So in regards to the company and team culture at CVS Health, I truly feel like it's like no other. I love how welcoming and kind all the colleagues are. I've always felt a sense of belonging ever since I was an intern. Something I did a lot during my internship was a lot of networking. And sometimes I would feel a little intimidated to like reach out to like certain people, especially in higher positions like directors and managers. But every single person I reached out to was more than happy and more than welcoming and wanted to help me with whatever it was I wanted to learn more about. And I just really love that. And during my internship and in my current role, my team, my manager, everyone is just so supportive. They understand that you're new to the role. You know, it's a huge organization and they're like very reassuring. And I just feel very empowered working here.
I definitely agree. I feel like my experience has been that everyone has been so willing to help all of the time. I've switched teams a few times while being here and always been welcomed with open arms by my team, with people always willing to help. So thank you for sharing that. This next one will go to Pema. How have you adapted to working virtually?
So joining the workforce in a virtual manner was not as hard as I thought it was going to be, since my last year and a half was online due to the pandemic. Most aspects were the same: sitting at my desk, taking phone calls, and doing individual work. The big difference was the amount of time that I was required to sit. To adjust to the 9-to-5 virtual environment, I needed to utilize the tools around me. I tried to get up and move every few hours by walking to my balcony, petting my dog, or even going to the kitchen to get some water. Taking even just a few minutes really helped me with my focus and allowed me to rest my eyes. I also know that some of my colleagues have Teams on their phones, so they're able to walk outside and take meetings to break up the day. Since I don't get to see other colleagues as much, I try to schedule chit chats with other GMDPs for 30 minutes throughout the week to catch up. These kinds of calls are informal, and it allows a nice opportunity to catch up and build my network. Currently, I have a bi-monthly reoccurring call with other Asian Americans in the GMDP that I look forward to, that helps me build my sense of belonging in this virtual world.
Thank you, Pema. I agree. I love to take a walking meeting when I can, or even just bringing my laptop out to my deck for a meeting. It's nice to get up and stretch your legs. And also, that's a great point about keeping connected with your colleagues, even though you are virtual. I think we do a great job of still having those touch bases so we can still have that connection even while we're working virtually. This next one will be for Dia. What is the best aspect of the work culture at CVS?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And I think kind of like on what Simon was saying earlier, it's very much just how opening and welcoming everyone is in this culture. I think something I've really appreciated specifically also about like the general management program, and I'm sure the finance program can say the same, is just the camaraderie you have in your program and within your class. I think a lot of times when you kind of think about jobs that you enter, especially ones straight out of college, they tend to be a very competitive environment, maybe a bit more cutthroat. Maybe you're actually competing with the people that are in your cohort rather than working collaboratively with them. So I think something that I've very much appreciated is just how helpful everyone is, whether that's your peers, whether it's your manager, the mentorships that this program and this company kind of puts into place, whether it's the CRGs that Pema was talking about. I think just the overall kind of effort this company puts towards making those connections and making sure colleagues feel supportive is just something that I very much value about this company culture.
Thank you. I'd also like to throw that same question to Lexi. What's the best aspect of the work culture at CVS?
Yeah, I completely agree with Dia. I think I just love how supportive and how willing everybody else is to collaborate with you. I think this is especially helpful, you know, when you're in a rotational program and you have to adjust to different teams, like getting that support, getting that help is so crucial. I know when I've asked for help, wanting to set up a one-on-one with someone to figure out a project or ask questions, people always say yes. And I know if I put a question in our group chat, I'm going to get an answer in like 5 seconds because my success is their success and vice versa. And I think that's what really helped me grow so far in this company. I love how collaborative and supportive everyone is.
Thanks, Lexi. I definitely agree. That sense of community and support from everyone makes a huge impact in your work daily. This next question will go to Simon. What has been your biggest surprise about working at CVS Health?
Thank you, Christina. That's actually a great question. I would have to say just finding out how big the company actually is. I think you touched on it, Christina, earlier, that we're not just a retail pharmacy store in your neighborhood. So me actually like having a seat in important meetings, important phone calls, dealing with different providers, vendors, even doctors and nurses. That's like one aspect that really shocked me in my first rotation. Specifically in this building, I'm in the New York City office. So if anybody wants to come to the New York City office and wants to network with me, by all means, on the 15th floor, there's a data analytics team. I found that very cool that we use analytics in different business areas such as retail and even on the Medicaid side. So just networking with them as well and seeing the different avenues that CVS Health has in this business is one thing that surprised me. And now I understand how and why they got their Fortune 10 status. So, yeah.
Great. It's kind of cool seeing how such a large company comes together in all our different areas. Thank you, Simon. For Simene, what skill have you gained that you didn't expect?
So basically, a skill that I gained that I didn't really expect to gain right away is like more like self-management skills. So that's in regards to like time management, organizing my tasks, making sure like my calendar, emails, everything's organized, just staying on top of all that. I feel like I've gotten very skillful in that. I think working in this virtual environment is really important to be organized and definitely be on the same page as your teammates and manager. My teammates and manager, they live like across the country from me. So it's really important for me to stay connected with them and not only stay connected with them, but make sure I have like self-discipline as well. And I know what I'm responsible for, my deliverables, different things, my day-to-day tasks. It's not like, I'm working next to my manager or like next to my teammate. Working from home, it really teaches you to manage yourself, manage your work better and everything. So I would say I think that skill definitely got sharpened for me.
I'd have to agree with you as someone who transitioned from working full-time in the office to being a remote employee. It's a skill that you have to learn to keep yourself accountable and to meet your deadlines and get your work done. But it's also something very valuable, and ultimately you get that work-life balance, which is what we all want. I'll bounce back to Simon for this one. What's a day in the life like for you?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, so like I said, I'm in New York City, so sorry, just reading the chat real quick. I'm based out of New York City, so my team is based out of Virginia, so I'm hybrid, right? So I have the flexibility of staying at home or being in the office. So a regular day will probably be like 6:30, 7 a.m. I hit the gym, get my mind right. I want to have a fresh awakening of my morning so I can be focused with my tasks I need to do. And I'll probably arrive at the office around 8:30, 9 a.m., depending on what time my team has a huddle call. So specifically with my team, we have huddle calls every morning. It could be at 10 a.m., 9:30, just reviewing what deliverables we need to do, some assignments we need to take care of during the week. And once I settle in my office, I grab my coffee. I write down, I guess, my top 5 tasks I need to do today. So like 1 through 5, just so I could like get organized and be more strategic throughout my day. And yeah, once I get going, it depends on how many meetings I have, what deliverables I need to do, and certain tasks I need to complete by the end of the day. So, and I should be finished around 4 to 5, depending on what I need to do. It may be later or maybe earlier, depending on my manager. So it's very flexible, the hybrid situation I'm in, and I'm blessed. Yeah.
Thanks, Simon. I think it's always interesting, especially as a college student, to see what that daily schedule is going to be like. I know that's something when I was in college and early in career, I would always ask people. Because it's a whole different thing, but thank you for giving us that insight into your day-to-day. This one will go to Lexi. How did you prepare for your current role?
Yeah, so for my role, I first did a lot of like online research to understand how my role fit into the healthcare industry as a whole. I think that helped me figure out what my goals were going to be and what things I wanted to accomplish when I got into this role. And the next thing was just setting up meetings with people who had previously been in this role, as well as my future team members. So I took a lot of notes to figure out the different acronyms, different terms, figure out which trainings that I needed to take, who to go to for questions, and also understand my manager's leadership and communication styles, which I think is really important. And I also asked those people for any resources that helped them when they started. So for example, any process maps or documents, helpful websites. And I think going over those really helped me get acclimated. And I also leverage my mentors. So I have currently an executive mentor who's in network management where I currently worked. And so he helped me understand how this department works and just broke down things for me. And I think using those resources, whether it means people or just doing online research, that really helped me get acclimated and get started in this role.
Thank you for that, Lexi. For this next question, I want to jump to one in the chat and I will open it up for all of you. What steps has the company taken thus far to promote diversity and inclusion, especially since there are still healthcare disparities amongst people of color?
I could take this one. So one thing that I've been really impressed with CVS is, I think it was in 2020, they decided to make a really generous investment of $600 million to address racial inequality, whether that meant like helping with affordable housing. So I know they implemented at least 700 housing units to help people who were experiencing homelessness, people of color, people with disabilities. So I think housing was a really big part of it, as well as like within the company. I know they implemented all of these unconscious bias trainings and development programs with an emphasis on executive sponsorship and mentorship. And I think one of my favorite things that I learned about was the WITCs, which stands for Workforce Innovation and Talent Centers. And they implemented one in the Ebenezer Baptist Church in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And basically this center helped people with job training, so teaching people how to be pharmacy techs, work with store operations, customer service, so giving people job opportunities, as well as helping people with food, financial assistance, and 24-hour daycare. So I think I love how CVS has dedicated so much money and effort into making sure both we as colleagues and people in the community feel like their voices are being heard and they feel like they're being included and represented in all that we do.
Yeah, to add to Lexi's great points, I also want to mention that CVS Health has a lot of CRGs, which are colleague resource groups, which I love. I've joined so many, I've lost count, but it gives a lot of recognition to different people across the company. There's like a CRG for like Asian Americans, there's CRGs for people who are interested in data analytics, like Simon brought up, a Pride CRG, all that. So yeah, it's really, really inclusive.
Thank you both for mentioning those. Definitely things that I was thinking of to touch on. I know in my experience, I have the pleasure on my team of working alongside our diversity and inclusion team. It's great to see all of the work that they do and the progress that they make. And we have meetings a lot of the time that focus on different groups and show us how we can offer support and be allies. And I'm really proud of being able to work for a company that is so inclusive of everyone. So thank you for that great question. For this next question, I'd like to ask it to both Simene and Dia. We'll start with Simene. What from your internship experience has helped you the most in your current role?
Yeah, I love this question. So basically, in my internship, when you're an intern, you might feel like, a bit intimidated sometimes to take ownership of certain projects in your team because you're like the newest member and you're so young and you haven't had some of the experiences that your teammates have had. But something that I'm really grateful for is my manager was really encouraging when it came to like project ownerships. There were certain things where she kind of let me lead on them. Something really incredible that I got to do was I got to make an SOP, which is a standard operating procedure for SAP Fiori, which is this data retrieval tool that my team would use. And this tool, I was able to present it to my team and my manager. And it can also be used by incoming interns. And I felt like that was really impactful as an intern to do. And this really made me more like comfortable and confident in my current role to like take ownerships of like projects that I'll be presenting soon to like my manager and my teammates and stuff. And I'm actually currently working on 2 projects that I have full ownership on. So yeah, I think that really helped me grow professionally.
Thank you. We'll pass it to Dia.
Yeah, I think actually kind of in the same vein of what Simene was just saying about having to actually like take ownership. I think something that I really appreciated about my internship experience is that my manager off the bat was like, I kind of want you to take charge of this project, which kind of entailed like social media marketing research of our competitors, specifically in the vein of like Medicaid. And it was such an open-ended project. It was something in which I was kind of allowed to kind of set the pace of what the project is going to be, what it's going to entail, the direction in which I'm going to take it, and just provide those initial findings, which would then kind of form a much larger decision and project. But I think it was just such a refreshing kind of experience because I was very used to internships where like it felt as though I was just a cog in the machine and kind of just doing work as like a means to an end and not necessarily having that larger professional impact or even that development within myself. But this definitely felt like a project that's going to have that large impact and something in which I have not only the opportunity to kind of demonstrate my talent and professional skills, but also an opportunity to learn those skills and gain that experience. And I think that very much then kind of set the pace for how I then experienced the rest of this general management program, that if there was something where I felt like, okay, this can be done or something that I might be interested in pursuing, feeling as if I need to take ownership to kind of make that happen or figure out who I can kind of get involved to make things happen. So yeah, very much, I think, an important experience to happen as an intern.
Thank you for sharing. This next question will go to Lexi. What have you found was your biggest challenge in your role so far?
Yeah, so I think especially being in a rotational program, it's always that transition period when you begin a new role that's always the most challenging. You're leading one rotation and that's where you're an expert in the area, where you're leading your projects, you're a go-to resource where people have questions, you're making a really big impact on your team. And then you're shifting over to a whole new role when you start your new rotation, and you don't really know who to go to, not sure how the processes work. But I think that transition period is where you really grow the most, because you're forced to think on your feet, use all the resources that you have to get up to speed, take all of these trainings, and just learn as much as you can to help you be successful. So I think while I said that transition period is the most challenging, I think you get so much growth out of that. And it's really rewarding when things start to click. You start to connect the dots between notes you wrote like 2 months ago until this current point. You're realizing, oh, this is how things work now. And then you can realize I can really make an impact on this team. So I think it gets easier with each transition. But yeah, like I said, I think that transitional period is where you can see yourself grow and learn the most.
Thanks, Lexi. I agreed. I actually started out in one of our rotational programs myself. I was in our Underwriting leadership development program, and I know exactly what Lexi's talking about. It can be a little nerve-wracking in that transition period where you're starting over and you're learning everything new and meeting everyone new. Once again, it's like a new job, but within the same company. But also through that experience, it challenges you and lets you grow. And I feel that that's something that helped me learn a lot and expanded my career. I want to go to another live question in the chat here. Is there a time where you have gotten nervous before presenting your results of a project, and how did you calm yourself down?
I can take that one. I think absolutely. I think before every presentation, I've always had like some sort of like stage fright, even though like I've been work from home since kind of the start of my actual GMDP experience. So it's kind of like I try to pretend that, oh no, I'm just kind of in my room. I'm just kind of talking to a computer. But then right beforehand, you're like, oh my God, I'm presenting information to like XYZ person, or I'm presenting it to so many people. And I think the most important thing is even if you have to deliver quote unquote bad news, any kind of news or update is still important news. And I think that's an important lesson that you need to kind of take when you come into this kind of environment or any kind of work environment. Is bad, quote unquote, bad things are going to happen. And it's still important to report those, because those are still lessons learned. Like if a project doesn't work, if what you went in initially with your hypothesis is not necessarily the conclusion you're expecting, it's still a conclusion. And that's still very valuable experience and lessons that we can continue to learn and grow from. So I think that's something that's really important, is getting nervous before presentations is just so natural and normal. But after you just continuously do them, they start to just become a part of kind of your job. They feel a bit more natural. And any kind of information is very important information, even if it is maybe negative.
Definitely agreed. My one big thing is to rehearse. I block time on my calendar just to practice. And once you go through it a couple times, I feel like it gets easier. You know, you might always get nervous no matter what. I know that affects me a lot, but when you've been able to practice, it makes everything so much easier because you know your material. And definitely a great suggestion. Thanks, Dia. All right, I'm going to throw this next question to Pema. What is the best career advice you've received?
Yes, so that is a great question. The best advice that I've received is actually from our GMDP program lead, Jackie Haig. For the first week at the company, everyone in the program actually gathered in Hartford, Connecticut for orientation. And at orientation, she mentioned this one phrase: no job is above or below you. And this specifically resonated with me because it humbled me within my role, and it gave me the courage to reach out to VPs and senior managers within the company to network and learn more about their jobs and how they lined up with my interests. These people with high titles are just people, and by slowing down, I was able to make genuine connections. I found out that one of these managers actually lived in Germany for a time, and we were able to bond over our shared job experience of helping other people make healthcare more accessible. But we also bonded over the fact that we lived abroad for a period of time. So fostering these relationships not only made work more enjoyable, but I'm now able to call on these people as a resource in the future.
Thanks, Pema. I love what you said, that those people in high positions are just people. It can seem intimidating, but really those people were all in your shoes at one time. You know, if you met them at the grocery store or like at a restaurant, you wouldn't know the difference without their title, and you could still connect with them. And that's something that I try to keep in the forefront, especially as you join one of our leadership programs. I know we've all had a lot of opportunities to network with people higher up in roles, and it's a great opportunity for us. And so making those connections and just keeping that in mind, don't let that intimidate you. It's a great networking opportunity. Thank you. This last question will go to Simon. What's one tip you'd like to share about the transition from student to professional?
Got it. I would just have to say discipline, right? It may sound cliche, but I believe discipline will take you a long way in any facet or any industry you're in. Just for the simple fact that, like I stated earlier, you have freedom, you have flexibility, you're an adult now. So the assignments, the deliverables, meeting with your mentors, meeting with your managers, taking the extra assignment is all up to you. So it depends on who you want to be, and how disciplined your work ethic is. Like, are you completing things on time? Are you asking questions? Are you finding the best possible solution to be the best colleague for your team? So the same way that you guys are all in college right now, right? You may have quizzes, homework assignments. You need to have discipline, right? You need to study, you need to meet with people, you need to actually teach your questions. So just that transition from like school and like I guess corporate America and having a career, that those are like I guess like two different worlds, but they both intertwine, if that makes sense. So the same work ethic you have with your schoolwork, guys, is the same work ethic you want to have in a corporate setting, because it can get more challenging, but then again, you have more freedom, if that makes sense. And I'm still learning that myself, right? Being fresh out of college, I just graduated in May. I'm implementing these habits and these work habits on a day-to-day basis. So I'm excited and to be a professional leader and to grow as a person. So yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Simon. Definitely agree with what you said. It makes complete sense to me, and I think you'll all find as you get into the corporate world, it's a new opportunity, but still has its similarities. But you're hopefully in a career path that you've been striving to be in 3 or 4 years in college. So now that you've achieved that, you can grow and develop, and it's just a new thing to put your efforts towards. So thank you very much. Thank you all for answering these questions. We will have some more time for questions at the end, so you can keep putting them in the chat and we'll address them at the end. But for now, I want to thank all of our panelists for joining us and giving us those great answers. Thank you. Okay, so now jumping into talking about the opportunities that we offer. We have a variety of opportunities for students. I'd like to start with our internships and what really makes our internships unique. We have proven to have a top-ranked successful virtual program. We also focus on helping you succeed in not just the role, but also as a person by offering development opportunities through the summer. You are treated as a colleague working on real-world work and not just grabbing coffee for the rest of the team. Your contribution actually contributes to the success of the company. You are never just given busy work. Here you can see a breakdown for our internship and after college roles. Our internship program generally focuses on juniors or first year MBAs, graduating between September 2023 and August 2024, and our opportunities span across over 25 business areas. As for our after college roles, we generally are looking for seniors with graduation dates between May 2022 and August 2023. And we will review more on these after college roles soon. Here are some of the business areas that we offer roles in. These include business operations, general management, finance, human resources. Our roles will start getting posted later this month, and you can explore all of these open roles at jobs.cvshealth.com/student. Just to touch a bit further on our corporate internship experience, we're looking for innovators, problem solvers, leadership experience, and strong communicators. This year's program will be a 10-week summer experience. It will start on June 5th and complete on August 11th, 2023. As we discussed earlier, this is an opportunity to work on real-world projects. You will also have the opportunity to have development workshops, mentorship and networking opportunities, interaction with senior leaders, and community service activities. Corporate interns also have an increased likelihood to receive an offer for a future role with CVS Health. As for our after-college opportunities, we offer many experiences that range between 1 to 6 years in the program length. Some of these include actuarial, finance, general management, human resources, and underwriting. So what about next steps? Well, don't forget to submit your resume via the Way Up resume drop, and we will share our positions with you as they become available. We will also be sending a follow-up email with the resume drop as well. So make sure to be on the lookout for that. As promised, we'll open it back up for questions. So I will look for those in the Q&A from you. We had one just come through. It's for every panelist, so I'll open it up to all of you. What's the greatest challenge you faced in your role and how did you overcome it?
I could take this one. I'm gonna just talk about this role that I specifically started in January. So kind of over the course of the past couple of months, the manager I initially kind of signed on to have the role with, the person before me had their entire rotation with, that manager left, I think, in the middle of March. Then his manager left at one point. Then our organization kind of got broken down and reabsorbed into a larger organization. So I think the biggest thing I learned after just my manager leaving is it didn't feel like the end of the world. It felt like this is a huge thing. This is the first time there's been someone that's like left my team that's directly kind of affected me. And just kind of what does this mean for me? And then at this point now, given how much change has just happened since then, I think the biggest thing I've learned is just that you kind of have to roll with the punches in some ways and just realize that this is part of the corporate environment, that there is just so much change. And what's the most important thing is the ability to remain flexible and adaptable to that change, both as an individual, but also larger as like a corporation, as a team, as an organization. I think you saw how like CVS tried to respond during COVID as well. That kind of shows our flexibility. So I think that's just something that's definitely been such a big challenge, having to just deal with all of those things right after another, but also such a good learning opportunity in just having to learn how to be adaptable and just respond to that whatever change is coming your way.
Yeah, I'll add to Dia's great point. So something that was challenging for me during my internship and my current role in the FLDP, I've been using like different kinds of applications, some applications that I was a little bit familiar with in college, some of them completely new to me. My biggest advice is, don't panic. If you communicate to your manager and teammates that this is your first time using these applications, they'll definitely be understanding. Something that I do is I've set up some weekly meetings with my teammates where I can kind of practice with some of the applications and stuff and kind of just see how they work with it. So I think for me, it was kind of the applications that was pretty challenging.
I can add to that. So for me, I think one of the biggest challenges was just dealing with criticism. I think, we're not all perfect. We could always improve in some way, shape, or form. And I think, for example, a most recent example, I was working on a project where I was really proud of what I did, really proud of the progress that I made with this project. And I showed my manager and it didn't entirely meet her expectations. But the good thing is she gave me really constructive criticism. So even though it wasn't what she wanted, she gave me some good tips on how to improve. And I think with those tips, I was able to improve my communication, delegation, and leadership skills. So I think it reminds me of this quote that someone said during internship orientation is don't be afraid to fail, because I think in those moments of failure is where you really grow the most.
Thank you all for that. I want to address this question. Did you say that you were going to send us a link with the job openings for the after college programs? So as our programs start to open, we haven't posted all the links yet. We're still opening our programs, but there is a resume drop via Way Up. And if you drop your resume in there, we're going to share our positions with you as they become available. So yes, you will get those notifications, and you will get a follow-up email with the resume drop as well. So if you missed it on Way Up, take a look at your email. We have everyone who's attending today, and we'll be following up with you there. Okay, I have a question that will go to, oh, it looks like Tim may be answering this, but I'm going to throw it to our GMDPs on the call. Could you talk a little bit about the leadership development and the general management program?
I can start off. So the General Management Development Program, or GMDP for short, is a 4.5-year rotational program, and there are 3 18-month rotations, and you get to see 3 different areas of the business. So for example, we have people in marketing, in sales, in underwriting, you name it. You could really go anywhere within the business, which is really cool. And I think what I really love about the program is that not only are you in these roles, but you get to help build and shape the program through committee work. So for example, I get the opportunity to help co-lead our recruiting committee. We also have like a diversity, equity, and inclusion committee, mentorship. So it's really fun to get to build and shape the program the way we want to see it. And the last thing I really want to highlight is the mentorship opportunities. So as you join the general management program, you get assigned a peer mentor. So someone usually in a class above you, and they get to help you and help shape you and help you grow in any way, shape, or form that you want to. And I think also we have executive mentors, which I think is really great. Getting to hear from leaders who really want to help you with your professional development. I know my executive mentor has been such a great help with me. Like I know after every meeting, he's like, what is the homework for me? What can I do to help you grow the most? So I really love how invested these leaders are in us. And so, yeah, I think the general management program is really great. It's helped me shape my leadership skills, all my soft and technical skills, and I've had a really great experience so far.
Yeah, I could also follow up to that, to Lexi's point. I'm part of the FLDP, so the Finance Leadership Development Program. And I just want to touch on the rotational aspect and how that relates to what I said earlier about how diverse the company is, right? Since you're in a rotational aspect, you get to see different facets of the business. You get to learn different skills, like Lexi said, and you could really be a versatile professional in the long run. So that's one thing that stood out to me while applying to CVS Health was the rotation aspect. Meeting different people, networking with different people, being on different teams, and learning the different areas of business and finance that's in healthcare. So that's one thing that stuck out to me, and the rest is history. Yeah.
Yeah, I would just like to add too that it's awesome being part of the GM program because we get to do different kinds of certifications. For example, in our first rotation, we get to complete this course called AHIP, and it's really great because it has to do with healthcare insurance, and CVS is able to pay for that for us. And that those are skills that we can use to carry on in our future roles.
Thank you all so much. It looks like we don't have any additional questions at this time. So to everyone who attended this call, please don't forget to add your resume to the resume drop, and we'll also send you the links to our open positions in the coming days. Thank you to all of our panelists, and thank you so much to everyone who attended, and we'll be in touch with you soon. Take care. Bye.